Shalom, Mount Freedom Jewish Center. This is Rabbi Menashe, and it's my pleasure to share a word of Torah for this coming Torah portion, Parshat Vayigash. Vayigash is really the dramatic story of the entire Torah, theatrical. The playwrights built a model based on this story. It came from here, that they were their own material and their own storylines were developed. And it's really so startling, and it's a shocking, amazing storyline. I hope that you will enjoy it and read it every year with just a wonder and love. It's a bit of a mystery, though. Joseph, when he reveals himself to his brothers, seems to be, all of a sudden, he had been so upset and so angry and vindictive and aggressive toward his brothers, and then all of a sudden, he turns around and is so magnanimous and gracious to his brothers. I was brought here by God. Don't be upset with yourselves, even though you threw me into the pit and lied to Dad and hated me and treated me terribly. You couldn't even say a word of Shalom to me. But it's all for the best. It's all from the hands of heaven. And is Dad okay? And I'm here. It's Yosef, Ani Yosef, Od Avichai. It's water under the bridge. And it's really a mystery how that could turn around. Like, he just flips a switch and Joseph is okay. The text, I think, gives a suggestion. It says, Yosef could not hold himself back anymore. And how I understand that is that he had a legitimate gripe and a complaint to his brothers. He was hurt, badly hurt, and he hadn't forgotten that hurt. Clearly, he hadn't forgotten that hurt. And he's holding it inside of him. And it's building up, and at a certain point, he realizes this pressure and strain is making me into a worse person. I cannot hold this anymore. I can't continue living my life filled with this feelings of anger and hatred and resentment. It's much more difficult to hold that feeling than to just turn around and say, you know what? I got to get over this. And I think that's what's so important about this Torah portion, other than the drama and the beauty of this, but it's the human dynamic, and Genesis is beautiful in this way. So he says, Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim, the stories of our forefathers are a symbol for us for how we are to be in the world. And Joseph teaches us, he is a complicated character, but teaches us there's a time to let go of some of that anger and hatred. It's a time to just, you need to move on, because it's much more painful and oppressive to the one who bears it. It's an energy on me if I'm holding that hate and that anger and resentment. The Torah says later in Parshat Kedoshim and Vayikra, it says, Hochech tochech et amitecha, you shall surely rebuke your fellow brother, v'lo tisa alav chet, but don't sin in the process. Meaning, tell your brother how you feel, but don't become the one who is sinning by shouting at that person and holding it in and being so angry and even leading to landing blows on each other, that there's so much upset and hatred towards each other. My righteous feelings of being hurt, my righteous indignation, yes, is valid, but then if I turn it into sin, that's on me. All right? We have that ability to shift and turn those painful feelings, which, God forbid, we should ever do that to someone, to hurt someone, but then to have them, that becoming a sort of a demon in them that creates so much of its own life form. And that's what we're trying to avoid. And Joseph is teaching us that. And I think this is a time, this whole time frame of this isolation and these months now, we're almost getting close to almost a year, where we'll have been going through this whole process, and the anxieties and the worries. And this is a time where we're stripping down the essentials. We don't need to hold on to stuff in our lives that is giving us extra reason to be upset, extra anxiety, extra resentment, extra feelings of dislike. And we know people like that. And we don't want to be around people like that. We don't want to be that person. As Bob Dylan said in one of his songs, do you know what a drag it is to see through my eyes, to see you? I'm misquoting exactly, but it's such a drag to see how you see yourself, through those eyes. To look from the other perspective and see that person and say, this is a person that has only this to worry about in their lives. We have so much to worry about. We have so much concerns that we got to just not focus on the narishkeit. We got to focus on loving, being honest, transparent with each other, saying how we feel, and letting things go. I bless you, everyone, as the Torah portion talks about a reunification of family, that we think about how can I reunite with each other, with others, with myself, not let the barriers inside of my heart block me from who I really am. Shabbat Shalom.